Hi, I'm Charlie Horner, and I'm delighted to be here in Bucharest at the HQ of EveryMatrix, and I'm delighted to be joined by CEO Ebbe Groes. Ebbe, it's great to have you with us. We're here to celebrate the opening of the new HQ, and it's 16 years since the founding of EveryMatrix. I was wondering if you could just walk us through the history of the company a little bit and how it developed in those early days.
Yeah, gladly, and thank you for coming to visit us. It's not often we get such nice visits here in Bucharest, so very happy for this. Normally we have a chance to meet at the shows, ICE, and so on, but yeah, SBC, of course, your own great events. But yeah, really pleased that you are making the effort and taking the time to visit us, so thank you for this.
Oh, absolutely.
Going back memory lane, we started out having a small business office in London, and then we had a development hub here in Bucharest. This goes back to where Romania was not even part of the EU. So back then there were like really big salary differences. Software company, we were self-funded. I founded the company with one other guy. We had a bit of money from previous enterprises that we've been doing, but we didn't really have that much money, so we're trying to find every possible way that we could build without spending too much. And so Romania was a good place to start. Since then, things have changed dramatically. Bucharest today is a completely different place. Really undergone huge developments in the last decade and a half of while I've been here. But so step by step, and that kind of let's say modest means and self-reliance, I think, is a part of our DNA today, and we've always been forced to initially to make sure that we did things in efficient ways, because there was no daddy to come around and help us with the bills if we couldn't make ends meet. So ups and downs, but on a trend that has gone really well for us. Yeah.
So when the company was founded, you started off obviously in London, and you had, I think, 3 sort of hubs. Fast forward to now, and there's 13 different offices in 3 different continents. Was that always the plan, to have huge global ambitions and across all different verticals of the industry?
I would say not necessarily, but what quickly did become a part of our DNA was that we felt fairly confident in managing being in different places. We always worked our philosophy that if we were to have an office somewhere, it should be our own place, it should be our own entity. We didn't say, oh, we need 100 people outsourced from India or whatever. If we went into some place, we would establish a proper subsidiary of our company locally in that country, have our own local management team, make sure that the people that were in that country had what they needed to be self-reliant and not just taking orders from the top, if you like. So in this way, it's not so much a big ambition to have 13 offices. It's more that once we hit 5, 6, 7, then we felt we have found a way to handle this, that our organization was able to manage this well, which meant also that we could take opportunities without any fears of how it would be to add yet one more unit there. So at times this has been very business driven, like our US offices there, obviously, to help us penetrate the US gambling market. In other places, other times it's been more opportunity driven. Like last year, we acquired a small company with a development team in Philippines. We have incorporated an EveryMatrix entity in Philippines right now, actually exactly this month, actually opening a nice office there, and knowing that we're able to do this, so without having to say, oh, we have to move this to one of our other development hubs. Instead, we can say, this team is good, it's understanding well, let's keep this, and rather than changing things, enforce them, give them more resources, both more developers, better office conditions, and so on. So it's an example of again, it happened both ways. And in the end, it turns out that often you have opportunities you didn't really realize, and suddenly it turns out to be an advantage for you that you have a presence somewhere or other. So yeah, we're embracing it and enjoying it.
Absolutely. And I guess one of the big moments in the company's history really was, I think it was 2015, and where you started to pull apart technology and start this sort of modular strategy where all the different units act independently under the group. Could you talk a little bit about that strategy and why that is something that really differentiates EveryMatrix?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. It was a bold move, I would say, because we damn near broke our necks on it. It's quite challenging to refactor from the start. You have this period where you're building a new platform, but you have to service your clients on the old one. So this balancing act was quite difficult. But yeah, in the end, what it gave us was this modularity that allowed us to both operate, manage, and sell different pieces of what we're doing independently. And the idea was, and that turned out to actually come to fruition, the idea was that it's quite hard to sell turnkey in the industry if your target is to target the tier ones. But then we had realized that it didn't really work necessarily so well to deliver turnkey to small operators. Small operators have a tendency to do one or two things. They are not big enough and they die, or they start to grow, and then Betson, Kindred, NT come along, snap them up. In either of these two cases, the platform provider to the little operator misses out. So it's a constant consultation going on the operator space. The only way you really will be able to serve something valuable in the long run is that you have the tier ones as in your client base. And once you realize this, it became clear to us you cannot rely on these tier ones to move lock, stock, and barrel everything from either another provider or from an in-house over to you. You have to be able to say, in this part or that, we can do something special for you. So the more modular you are, the more you're able to react to needs that operator has. And I think with operators, there's a lot of people say, oh, the big operators, they really want to insource everything. Very important. They have control of everything. And to an extent, it's true. However, they, as everyone, have to pick their battles. And their scarce resource always is their development teams. You cannot just say, I'm not very strong casino, so I'll now change this quickly. If you have to start this from scratch, it can be a 2, 3, 4 year period before you're really very competitive. At the same time as maybe your main product is sports or something else in this way. So what we're able to do is to see this or this part is something where right now, this is not really a core part of what you want to do. You might be doing it, not doing very well. We can then help, and the key thing is we can plug this in as it fits with you, while still allowing you the control of what is normally the most important thing to you is that you control your front-end user experience and you control the data. So these are the two key parts where we give operators, the big operators, the chance to distinguish themselves and then to do this without having to necessarily do things that for them appear very risky, as in changing lock, stock, and barrel. Once you're doing this a few times, and sometimes, of course, you can win the big turnkey like we did in Hungary last year, where they move everything from one of our competitors over to us. This, of course, is great. Then we make more money. It's easier for us. But the very important thing is that you start from the other principle. You don't start from a turnkey and then try to sort of deliver it, but only with some parts. Instead, you start from the Lego principle. I have this block. If you want everything from us, fine. But it's built from the ground up to be modular. And this is a principle that sounds quite simple, but once you're up and running and you have 50 clients, 100 clients, 150 clients, it's really quite hard to change this when you're already in full motion. And this was why it was hard for us, but it's also why today we benefit from having done this transition.
Yeah, sure. And I guess a big theme then is sort of flexibility and the agility that you can offer. And I guess this strategy can help you be flexible and agile with the geographies that you're in as well, because in the last few years you've expanded, of course, into the US. It feels like Latin America is becoming a big part of your strategy. Could you tell us a little bit about that sort of growth that you're looking at across the globe with partners and going after these newly regulated markets?
Yeah, I can. It is actually one of, I would say, strange or paradoxical things about us is that right now we're enjoying like extreme success. We grew 75% last year, which is quite unusual for a very large company. So very, very strong growth. However, almost all of this remains still in Europe. So I know it's a challenge for me and for my colleagues in the company to say, we take something that was probably the most contested of all the markets, most mature is the European landscape, most advanced in many ways from regulation point of view, from player point of view. You take this and say, how can we take this, which evidently is working really, really well in Europe, and expand? So yes, we are doing things there with efforts in the US, with efforts in LATAM, also now in Africa. I'm not an illusion that it's easy, but what I do believe in is the proven ability we have there will carry over, and that what we need to do is to have the same localization focus, which in essence is what we're doing on the product side, that we allow our product people to work only focused on one product. Well, we need the same here when it comes to geography. The fact that the products are spread out in this modular fashion also allows us to tackle what localizations are needed on a product by product basis, which makes it, let's say, more of a manageable project to say, what do I need for the sportsbook or for the casino or for the payments or for the PAM to be competitive in this new territory. I can spread this out, and this helps me quite a lot.
Sure. And you say that there are challenges to overcome. What do you think those challenges are in pursuing those that expansion in regulated markets?
I think it's very much a commercial one. I feel quite confident that on the product side, on the operation side, we have what it takes. It is one of marketing and sales much more than it's on our products, and this makes it a well-defined and I think quite manageable challenge for us. But yeah, the proof is in the pudding.
I guess finally then, you talk about those opportunities that you foresee in the next 12 to 24 months. What do you think those opportunities are? And will you be really aggressive in your pursuit of chasing those opportunities?
Yeah. Well, I think one key area in terms of sector is the lottery space. We have managed to win by now 5 deals in the lottery space. Is for our casino product and is for our sports product. And we stand out here because most of the lotteries today are using products from larger and older suppliers than us. So it is a very interesting area. These are very solid companies. They typically do very, very good businesses, but sometimes are lacking in modernization and being able to compete with, let's say, the more commercial, pure commercial bred operators. So they face this challenge on a global level, and we have found a way to work with operators here. They're quite different from others. So in terms of vertical, I think it will be there. In terms of geography, we discussed that already.
Sure.
We want to, we need to, and we're aiming to expand with existing products, but in new territories.
Fantastic. Yeah. Ebbe, thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.